another episode of the Everything Horror Podcast. My name is Paul Doski, and with me we have Kyle Alexandria, or Alexandru, depending on if you want to do the French name or not. So, please give me a welcome hand of ghoulish fun of the founder and owner of It's So Good, It's Scary. It's Kyle Alexandria, or Kyle Alexander, however you want to call him. So, Kyle, welcome aboard nonetheless. How are you?
Not too bad, Paul. How are you doing today?
Oh, just to die for. How about you on this wonderful Sunday afternoon?
So far so good. Got to watch a few episodes of the new Ratchet show on Netflix, based on Nurse Ratchet from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with my wife today, and it's pretty enjoyable, actually.
That's funny. My fiance and I just started that last night, and so here's the funny thing. I'm on the last episode. She fell asleep during episode 7.
Oh.
Yep. So
Start that over.
yeah, which is fine. Kind of makes me want to go back to episode 7 anyway. I think that's when I'm on. So, but yeah, otherwise, I mean, it's definitely a slow burn, but I think it's supposed to be that slow burn as it starts to build up toward the end, for sure.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so Kyle, you sent us an email, and I think it's because of your buddy Jed Bryan. I'm assuming. I mean, I don't know. He kind of reached out to me at first, and he's like, "Hey, did you get an email from my buddy Kyle?" And I'm like, maybe." I'm like, "What was his name?" And he's like, "Oh, Kyle from So Good It's Scary." And I'm like, I don't think so. And then I started to think back, and I'm like, oh, yes, because what happened was you sent an email through suggestions and not interview or review. So I think that's what threw me off.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So I went back, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad I didn't reply to him now. So I went back to Jed. I'm like, yep. I feel like a shithead. So yeah. So I did tell him, yes, I am talking to you after not replying to your email. But anyway, so Kyle, please tell us a little bit of what the hell So Good It's Scary. What is it?
So essentially, we're a newly formed company that are focused on publicity and promotion for low budget and independent films. So basically, what we do is we've been getting in contact with people such as yourself, Paul, podcasts, websites, bloggers, everybody who's a content creator who has anything to do with either films, movies, particularly horror films, because that's kind of my forte. And once I've accumulated enough people, I started picking up some clients. So basically, I would advertise their movies for them, their shorts, get them interviews through the content creators that I made connections with, and the like that. So it's basically a way to cut out the middleman, because I personally know, as somebody who previously did interviews and podcasts and things like that, it's a pain to try to find somebody to either get on your show or to promote your stuff through, because it's a long process. You're sending emails one by one to different people. So I figured, what, I'm already used to doing stuff like this. Why don't I just piece it together myself? I'll already get all the contacts. I'll ask them if they want to do this. If they agree, throw them on the mailing list, and once a client comes through, I can just mass email everybody and say, here, this is the next short, or this is the screener, or this is the interview opportunity. It's here. Do what you want with it.
easy enough, right?
Well, exactly. Like it's a bit of a process to piece together at first, but that's essentially how I got it off the ground. Mind you, I already had a fair amount of connections within the horror genre, so like yes, I did have a bit of a head start, but it's still a bit of work. But now that everything is starting to come together, we've already seen results for some of our clients, like Jed Bryan has, as you mentioned. We've got him some additional interviews. Adam Kirky, his short "Getting Away," we just released it. It's starting to get reviews already. Thomas Burke's short "Camping Fun." He's had a ton of great reviews that have come back. He was actually the first one that we sent out to people. And yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff in the works right now. I've got about 5 or 6 other filmmakers that I'm in talks with. Some of them have some really amazing stuff happening. Unfortunately, we can't talk about that right now, but yeah, there's a lot of great stuff coming. So if you're a content creator, I would advise you to shoot us an email or a message on either Instagram or Twitter, and just hop on that mailing list because there's a lot of great stuff coming up.
Now, how does like one with their own low budget content and stuff? How does one like I guess join you?
So, like the filmmaker.
Yeah, for like filmmakers or any type of indie content creator, whether it be if let's just say like for somebody like me, like I debuted my short horror film called The Passenger last year. So
Mm-hmm.
like let's say I wanted to reach out and go from there with you or something. How does that work?
So it's essentially the same thing. You shoot me an email, say, "Hey, I got this project that I'm either releasing. It's already been released. Just hasn't had many eyes on it. Just anything like that. Just give me a rundown, and then let me know what you're looking to do." Like we've got a lot of free options that we can send out press releases or screeners, or like I said, interview opportunities to our content creators. Um, there are a few other options that would cost a little bit of money, but everything else is, especially right now, it's free. As we're trying to build our brand, we want to make good connections with upcoming filmmakers, just as much as we want to make connections with upcoming content creators. So, like, we want to build an easy to use brand that connects, that breaks out the middleman. So instead of, like I said earlier, instead of filmmaker has to send an email out to be interviewed, or podcaster has to send an email out to be interviewed, and to 10, 20 different people with no response. At least this way, I have people that are actually involved and want to be part of this whole thing. Yes, they're not all going to be intrigued by either the screen or the interview opportunities or things like that, but there are always going to be a handful of people that want to put out content, and be it either a short screen, like a feature, interview, anything like that. They just want to keep building their personal brand, and by us being able to provide that to them, it's really a help on both ends because everybody's able to promote their own stuff. And it's I find, and some of my clients would also have to agree that we run a really good um, business format for these types of things.
Nice, nice. Well, sounds like maybe I should throw The Passenger out there for you so you can like share it around or something if you wanted to. But of course, I would have you look at it first to see if it's even so good that it's scary of content, I guess.
Now that's the thing. The name was just the name that I had come up with, like maybe 6 months ago. Like I knew that I wanted to get back into doing something and just didn't have like a massive idea as to what I wanted to do. I thought I'd like jump into podcasting or something, but director Tony Ash was talking to me about one of his upcoming projects, and he had put it in my head like, hey, like we could use somebody to help with marketing and things like that. And I'm like, you know what? I already know how to do this. So I kind of took the name that I had already, sealed off on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, and I said, screw it, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to, see if I can build a little bit of a business that's going to not only help these people out, but it's going to give me a bit of a purpose to, you know, feel good about, like something that Basically something that
that you value to
exactly, yeah, exactly,
yeah.
and the like I know the title of the company is seems directly horror related. Like we're open to everything as long as you're not like trying to mask a porno into a horror film or something like that. Like that's fine. Like as long as it's an actual film, doesn't matter if it's technically good or bad. Like as long as it's got a decent format and it looks like a film, short or long. We'll give you a hand. Like it doesn't really matter. Like we want to get your stuff out there regardless of how good or how bad it is. And like I said, I'm the content creators that I've worked with or that I'm currently working with.
Mm-hmm.
I've already told them, I'm like, if you don't like the screener and you don't want to do anything with it, don't. It's up to you. If you don't like it, you write what you think about it. Like I want you guys to be completely honest and whether it's positive or negative. Don't be a dick about it. But like
It is what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, and I say the same thing to my clients as well. I'm like, you know what, you might get some reviews that you don't like, but that's you need an open and honest grouping of people to tell you exactly what is going on with your film. Granted, most of the people that are out there aren't actual like film critics, if you will, but they are film reviewers and they love film enough to be able to sit down and try to break something down. Some of them are a little assholish, if you will, and others are just overly positive. But there's you gotta speak your truth no matter what the product is.
I was just about to say, I can be a little asshole too, but I mean, I think we all have our own, like, barrel that would jump in, as I may say. Like, like a lot of people will tell me sometimes I'm too picky when it comes to film, but that's just me. It's not like I can't help it. It's just, how I was brought up, how I look at things, what really catches my attention versus, something that I can't even think of a word right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like a slow burn, but it's like that slow burn to the point where you just lose interest really fast.
Yeah.
And
Which and a lot of people like that too, right? But everybody has their own taste, so that's
exactly,
why
exactly,
I don't judge. I want like sometimes like I'll read about the film that's being sent to me, but I won't look at it until I already send it out to people because then I don't have a specific hill that I'm standing on. I'm just doing my job, sending it out. Once that's done, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to watch it. It doesn't matter if I enjoy it or not, I'm getting my job done. That has to be sent out to these content creators. Again, it's up to them to do what they want with it. If they don't like it, they don't want anything to do with it. That's up to them, right?
exactly. Like, so I mentioned I debuted in a short film last year called The Passenger.
Yep.
This year I'm trying to work on two films, Terror Trail 2, which I don't remember if it was off the air or on the air, but I'll just say it real quick. But like, I know the first one should be done this year. As for the second one, that's gonna be a hit or miss. But it's just what it is, unfortunately. But
Exactly. The circumstances are different this year.
but like the thing about the film I want to create are the B-rated horror films. Like I'm not looking to go into a really big budget. I'm just looking at it as this is my monster movie or whatever I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to at least show in my film of like why I love horror
Yeah.
because like and some things is like what I miss about horror, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as a classic monster fan myself, I completely understand what you mean. Like there's specific aspects of the genre that brought you to it, right?
Right.
So, and that's not going to be the same thing as some other people. Some people they were just bred with the 80s horror film. Others were, exposed to the black and white films from the 30s or 40s. Like there's a bunch of kids that are popping up now saying that Scream's the best film that was ever made, and that's because that's what they grew up with, right?
Right.
And I'm not one to judge. I watched Scream like a few months ago. Still not a big fan of it, but you know what? People love it, and that's good. That's a fan for the genre, regardless of if the movie was good to me or not, right?
Exactly. Like, so let me ask you this real quick, Kyle. If you even remember, what was the very first film that got you into horror?
That got me into horror. Well, basically, I remember watching Carrie as a kid. My mom said, "You know what? You want to watch scary movies? Here, watch this one." So we checked that one out. I'm like, "Oh my god!" And then so she gave me what do you call it? The People Under the Stairs to watch.
Oh my
And
god!
just absolutely
Yes.
fell in love with it. Like that ended up being my favorite for a long time. Up to this day, it's still in my top 10 for sure. And it kind of just
you can't
spiraled
go
from there.
wrong. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Like, so so the very first film for me, this is gonna sound really awkward. So technically, the name that got me into horror was the infamous classic Alien, but that's because I knew the title. Okay.
Yeah.
But back in the real day when I was young, I actually snuck downstairs and I kind of was peeking into the living room when my parents were watching some scary ass movie. And at the time, I didn't know what it was because, I'm like 8 or whatever years old, realizing that the scene that I'm watching is definitely something a kid should not be seeing at 8 years old. So it's just like, maybe I should go back to bed. So, so later on in life, I found out what, um, technically the first, film you could say that I kind of was seeing, even though like I maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, maybe five, I think, because I was just too afraid my parents were gonna get up and I wasn't gonna have enough time to like run back to the stairs. But like it ended up being Brad Stoker Dracula, and it happened to be the werewolf scene with the lady that goes on to the sacrificing table.
Yeah.
So that was the part I originally was seeing, with that werewolf scene with the ritual table there, and it's just like, yeah, no, that's not suitable for kid at all. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, but I didn't know what they were watching though. So technically, I always say Bram Stoker Dracula is really what got me into horror before Alien.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So because it's just like, well, what was that? And then you find out later on after you discover it for yourself, which was nice.
No,
So
and exactly, and back in the day with video stores and everything too, it was just like you walk in there and you're staring at all these cases. Because horror was always like the prominent section because of the visuals that were available. So it's always like you see something when you were a kid and you're just like, oh my god, like I can't remember the name of it, but I can if I saw that picture or the poster for it, I'd be able to that's something I want to see. So
but how
that's
could you remember it though if it's on TV and you've never seen the box cover or anything? No.
well, something like that. Yeah, that's understandable. But eventually you'll see like clips, especially nowadays, like YouTube and all the horror groups on Facebook and all that stuff. You can easily just go on and be like somebody pulls up a clip from something and be like, I remember seeing this when I was a kid. Like,
Yep.
The availability to find something that you were long looking for is it's very easy to find these days.
Yes, as long as YouTube allows it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which in this case, I'm surprised some of the stuff YouTube allows, but then again, they've been cracking down really good. So it's hard. It's a hit or miss for sure.
Oh, for sure.
So we know a little. So we learned a little bit about So Good It's Scary. Now, what about you, Kyle? You said you already had like a horror connection, stuff like that. So tell us like a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
So, as for my horror connection, over the years, I've been, let's see, 10 years, maybe a little bit longer, give or take. I've been either writing stuff like small scripts, things of that nature. I sold a few off, and nothing, unfortunately, ever came of them. But, better to have something out there than nothing at all to some degree. um, Next to that, I was just, writing reviews and doing some podcasts and, you know, bits and pieces of things that everybody else would do. But over those years, I've, connected with a lot of people that I became friends with. And it just kind of, with all those connections and what's going on with the business now, I just figured, it goes hand in hand. I've got these connections. I've got this idea. It's going to help this side. It's going to help this side. Let's just put it together and see if it works. And so far, it's been working fantastically.
Awesome, awesome. Now, um, I know you keep mentioning email and stuff like that. So, what is the email to reach out to you for the newsletter, or like if I wanted to contact you about my shorts? What's your email?
So the email address for that is sggooditsscary@gmail.com. So instead of, sgitscary@gmail.com. My apologies. So there's also, we're also on Twitter as well, and Instagram. Just give me a second because I know one of them is different than the other.
I know Facebook is different than Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. So on Twitter, it's at So Good It's Scary, and on Instagram, it should be SG It's Scary.
Okay. And it's kind of funny because, like, when I was trying to do the Twitter and Facebook URL for you, it was kind of funny because I kept the same exact thing for Instagram, and I tried to
Yeah.
do it as like a what do I want to call it? So instead of like trying to type in Facebook and try to find you that way, I figured it might be the same thing, or just need to knock out a couple letters or whatever. So
Yeah.
anyway, it was funny because I went to Facebook and hit enter with your Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So it comes up to a page which is not your page, but it's a page for a pizza place. So it's literally called So Good It's Scary Pizza and Grill. I'm like, what? Really? Yeah. And it's
I didn't see that one come up when I looked it up.
Yeah. And it's some place in like Tennessee. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I know you ain't no pizza place, but jeez.
Yeah, we're multitaskers here.
Yeah, no kidding, right? But anyway, we're not here to talk about this. It's So Good at Scary Pizza and Grill place, even though I'm still trying to figure that one out. But yeah. So another thing I noticed too, Kyle, is, and I wanted to ask you anyway, is you think about doing like a website at all, or are you just trying to keep it simple right now with just email?
I'm just trying to keep it simple right now. I do have somebody who is going to eventually be putting together a website for me, an old friend of mine. So it's just, just playing the waiting game. I do have to throw them a few shekels, but, eventually we will have the website. It's just, like you said, it's just trying to keep it easy for now, keep everything as simple as possible, and then just kind of go from there. But with the way everything's going, we're actually gaining a lot of traction for the small amount of time that we've been doing this stuff. So I'm really impressed. So we're definitely gonna have a website in the eventual future.
Well, I'm glad because it's probably going to be the best choice to do.
Oh,
Could pretty,
absolutely.
could pretty soon you ain't gonna be able to just do it by yourself. I don't think.
No, like I've got a few people lending me a helping hand here and there, but it's definitely starting to grow.
Right. Yeah, and that's when you know you're doing something right. So,
Exactly.
like, right now I've just been getting emails and emails of stuff, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, what the hell? Like, I've been out of work from like March all the way to August 2nd when I started back up work, and it's like nobody sent an email for much of anything, and then all of a sudden, boom! It's like I go back to work, and now my email box is like filling up, which is not a bad thing, but it's just like everything horror had gotten small because
Yeah.
you know we had a kid, so Tessa had been taking breaks from the podcast and stuff. I've been doing reviews of articles when I can. Our other buddy who helps out volunteer is I've been sending him emails for reviews and stuff, and I'm like, dude, it's I'm sending you too much. Just tell me to back off, please. But he just like, no, keep going, and I'm just like, oh God, he's gonna hate me by the end of it.
uh,
So yeah, more help is definitely would be great, but that's where uh the question I was gonna not really question, but that's where I off the air I said maybe I should hold that as a question. So, and that question is, you know, so for your sake, Kyle, if you were to, let's say, try to help expand So Good It's Scary, and I'm not trying to say like you haven't tried already, but it, from your experience, even before So Good It's Scary, how hard has it been to try and to find people who are reliable?
reliable? That's a good question. Uh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a hit or miss. It's really a hit or miss because, like I said, I've made a lot of friends over the years um, within the genre, and the people that are or that I have become friends with are the reliable ones. So it's like there's a lot of people. Yes, they've done some stuff, either to help out or I've done some stuff for them to help them out. But there's always that off chance where you're sitting down to do an interview with a director, and you have the time set. You sent an email the day before, like, hey, don't forget at this time tomorrow, blah blah blah. Yeah, not a problem. I'll be there. And you go to give them a call, and they're sitting in traffic, like, oh yeah, no, I was heading to the grocery store. Why? Because we had an interview. Like, you don't care. But those were typically my biggest issues. It's like if you're not going to show that you care, like you don't have to be, you know, overly reliable. Just be on time. Like if you want to sit there and give me a boring interview at the time, okay. If you're gonna send me an email, be like, hey, promote my stuff. I'm not gonna say please or thank you. Like, you think I really want to work with you? Come on. You got to be nice.
Oh,
You got to be kind, and you got to be on time.
don't even get me started with those type of people. The one that go, hey, promote my stuff, and then you like sit there for an hour and you put like, you're trying to make up like a best little like promotion for them or whatever with like your own words or whatever, and you're trying to use your own time to make this, what to say, hour plus article that you're trying to do for this person. Which, mind you, you're not getting, which I don't get paid for to do, but still, it's just
No,
one of those
exactly.
nights. And yet, they, you send them the thing, and then they just don't even do anything with it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh,
I've been there
thanks.
myself before, so I know exactly how that is as well. But it is what it is, and you kind of like I said, you work with people as the years go on. You make friends, so you've got let's say that I didn't know you at all, and then you sent me an email, but it was just like oddly worded or something like, "Hey, promote my stuff," and you send me the link or whatever, and then I turn around to my friend and go, "Hey, do you know this person?" And then they'll either tell me like, hey, "Yeah, I know them. They're crazy," or "Yeah, I know them. They're good people. They're probably in a hurry, and that's why they screwed up the email." That's it. Like, so it's good to have connections, and that's the reliability that I look for in other people. Not that, so they can do something for me, but if I have a question, that they'd be able to answer it for me if possible. Right?
Right, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that's another one. Like, so I'm not gonna give out the name, of course, but this one remind me of something perfect. So we got this email once where he was like, "Hey, this is my stuff. I did send you a press kit. Just look at my stuff and uh, yeah, and and, uh, and oh yeah, and something along the lines of like, review it."
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So I first of all, I know the URL, what the URL is. Like I said, I am not trying to give away names or even where it's on. But
Yeah.
anyway, I know what this URL is. It's basically like, I'll just say it's like one of those, online shop, basically, is what I'm gonna say. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. So I go to it, and it's he, the guy had, or lady, whoever it is. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know who this is or whatever. Like, anyway, so it's all Halloween related, handmade stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, they want us to review their product, but yet, um, so how am I supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Like, am I supposed to just like somehow pretend like I can reach through my TV screen and touch their product and be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing," and then like do a awesome review? No, I mean,
Yeah. No, and you also don't want to lie to the people that that are part of your audience or anything like that either. Like, why are you gonna sell them something that you've never seen in person before in your life, right?
or felt or whatever. But see, and that's the thing, is like, do you want to spend that etc. amount of money just to even write up this free promo of this guy's work? It's like, I'm gonna have to do a hard pass, unfortunately, because
No, exactly.
it's like, no offense to your work, which from the reviews of other people, it sounds like it's great work, but I personally don't feel comfortable without actually looking at the real thing, like you just said, touching it, feeling it. But yeah, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And like I said, I don't want to give out who it is. I mean, it looks phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like I'm not the type of person for this.
Yeah.
So, or however they're trying to go about reaching out. But yeah. Um. So I've been listening to other podcasts, Kyle, and one thing that this one podcast brought up, which is very interesting, and for some weird reason, I never thought of this until like I heard them talk about it. And ever since then, I've always kind of wanted to find somebody to ask this. And I think I'm going to start asking this from now on, even though I want to turn it into like a roundtable discussion one day,
Yep.
because I think it's like a really cool conversation to have. And for you, you can keep it very brief. I know I'm kind of taking this over the notch a little bit, probably lengths here, but I'm out of curiosity with everything that is going on with horror, and I'm talking from like back into the day to present, right?
Yep.
Do you feel that the horror genre is also a genre that we can learn from? Like, do you get what I'm trying to say as a question?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand. Essentially, yes, we can. Um, there are a lot of scenarios that are based on real life things that happen. Like, yes, we have, you know, um, Friday the 13th type stuff that happens, like the supernatural, Jason coming out of the ground and, or out of the lake, I should say, and, just destroying everything and everybody, and you need some sort of supernatural entity to fight it back or something odd. But there are a lot of, good examples of, you know, normal everyday life things that happen in horror movies that we could learn from. Um, Off the top of my head, I cannot think of a specific film or anything like that, but there's um, come on, let's see.
Well,
Actually, you know
like,
what? Halloween, for example. We'll
yeah,
just use that one. Halloween, like that's just supposed to be a typical, you know, nutcase who just wants to kill people. There's kind of like how to avoid getting killed, things like that. I know it's not the best example, but there are lots of different things like disaster movies and
the
pandemic
purge.
movies and things like that. The Purge is kind of, I guess that kind of fits in with some of the stuff that's gone on in the last year. But um, yeah, it's there. I honestly believe that there are a lot of lessons that can be learned from the horror genre, as long as it's not just a gore fest. There's always something that you can take away from them.
Right. I 100% agree with you on that. Now, before I give the last question that I can think of, Kyle, is there anything that you feel like I have not asked you either about yourself or for it's so good that it's scary?
Um, Not that I can think of. I think we pretty much covered most of that.
All right. Well, so my final question for you is nowadays, with the way horror has become, I'll say,
Mhm.
what do you feel that horror is missing nowadays?
Missing. Well, I've always been a big, like I said earlier, classic monster fan. Since I was in high school, I ended up walking into a classroom and the teacher was watching, they call it Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I was intrigued by it, and just the way the movements, the costumes, the makeup, like everything like that. We're like look at Phantom of the Opera from 1925, Hunchback of Notre Dame from back then as well. Uh, like just you can't not enjoy what they did or the pain that they went through in order to be able to make themselves look like that, or the makeup artist doing that to the actors. The costumes, things like that, like the presence of, specific actors, especially in black and white. Like, if you look back at the original Frankenstein, like, you just, Karloff is just, like, you look at him and he just, he emanates everything from the screen. You just can't help but stare at him and just, follow everything he's doing. You end up feeling bad for him just by movements. The guy's not talking throughout the entire film. But so we need something like that this day and age without the CG. Just something like, I want to say monster type-ish, but that might just be asking a little too much because most people aren't really afraid of monsters, and most people make them out of CG now.
So, so you basically what you're saying is you missed the practical monsters. You're getting sick and tired of seeing the CGI shit. Basically,
No, I wouldn't say sick and tired per se, but it's just like a lot of times, like the films will rely on the CG as opposed to anything else, and it just kind of hurts the film in that way. Like
yeah,
there's something to be said about like like something physical being sprayed out at you or at the actor and them freaking out, and as opposed to look at this ball, there's going to be a monster here, it's going to start spraying blood at you. Like you can tell the difference. Sometimes the CG, like, it definitely is an aid in helping with those creations, but not full CG. It doesn't sit right with me personally.
huh? You just reminded me of like one of my favorite scenes, like from like The Howling. Look at like The Howling, where they sprayed the fake blood in what's her face's face, with the part where the claws are in the screen, but that's all you see of the werewolf at the time,
Yeah,
and stuff like that. Like, I get that sort of like what you're talking about, correct?
exactly. Yeah. So like yes, the practical effects look better on creations, monsters, anything of that nature. But also, you have the ability to kind of play around, like you're saying. Like you see the claws, like then that's all you're going to see for that time, right? You don't need to do the big reveal. You don't need to show the monster. Yes, people want to see it, but give them that. Don't mind my words, slow burn in order to be able to get to that point, right?
Exactly. Or the way I look at it is you can use what you're saying is a slow burn. You can just use it to your imagination.
That as well, yes. That is also something that has not been done in a while. Mind you, I haven't watched too much that's been new lately, but it is something that is missing from the genre, I find.
And that's one thing I will say that I'm trying to actually do in Terra Trail. So I'm actually trying to show less of the creature, but leave it to your imagination.
Yeah, which is always a fun way to do it too, because you create such awesome imagery in your own head that it's sort of witnessing a film or something of that nature that has that. It makes you think, which it might not be the greatest things to think about, but it works. It gets the job done.
Right. And I guess um so I'll say a little bit of why I decided to do it this way with Terror Trail, right? So I figured this would be perfect for Terror Trail to show a little bit of the monster, is because what we're trying to do is we're trying to show hints of what the monster is. Eventually, we will say what it was or what it's known as here,
Yeah,
but we're not gonna I'll say it right now, people. If you're looking for a full blown monster shot, forget about it. I'll tell you that right now. Spoiler alert! Sorry, you ain't gonna see the whole thing, but um, you know, it's just that's what I love, because that's what makes a nice B-rated film. Is you only see so much, It leaves you enough of the imagination of what the hell is going on, what is this,
Yeah,
and then if you give the audience enough information, the way I look at it is, as we were talking earlier, with the internet, Google, YouTube, whatever, you can search it. You can search
exactly.
it. If you really want to know and kind of see more of the creature, I'm going to say, you got the internet to search it. And with the beautiful internet, you can see drawing, you can learn more, you can, do your own research. And that's what I'm actually trying to do with Terra Trail.
Yeah,
I'm making more like it's like a B-rated movie that I want people to basically do their own research once they're done. Like if they
yeah,
liked it enough and they want to research more about the monster or the area itself, then I know I accomplished my mission.
exactly.
So that's basically my mission. If that was a spoiler alert for all you people, I apologize, but that's just the way I think. So, whoops. But I did not spoil what the monster is, even though you might have an idea of what it is already because of my poster that I revealed. But it is what it is. So, but anyway, on that note, Kyle, so tell me again, you have no website yet. So the only
Yeah.
way to get a hold of you is by messaging on your social media, which is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I will have those in the episode description below for people. And one last time, if you just don't mind, is what is the email address again that you use?
So the email address is S as in Sam, G as in good, it's, ITS, scary, SCARY. I'm sure your fans know, or your listeners know what scary is. You know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
At gmail.com. So SG it's scary at gmail.com.
All right. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for your time, and it was a pleasure to actually talk with you. And if there's anything that we can do to help you in the future, or if you ever want to do a roundtable discussion with people that we could maybe all come aboard and agree upon on, with a day and time and stuff. Because, like I was saying, I would love to do a roundtable talk about the whole what can horror teach us. You
Yeah,
know,
no, absolutely. I think that might be something I'd be down for.
yeah. So, I mean, I was thinking about it when I was listening. I'm like, oh my god, why did I not think of that? But yeah, so there you have it, everybody. Kyle from So Good It's Scary. Reach out to Kyle. He does a phenomenal job. I think like every damn day I see like 50 posts come from um, So Good It's Scary, but it's not just him. I'm saying like his clients and everybody else. It's not a bad thing. I'm just trying to say like that's how much Kyle's marketing agency work, because if you see it, if I'm seeing it that many times a day at least maybe, then he must be doing something good,
I'm hoping so.
right? So Kyle, I guess, is there any final word that you'd like to tell the listeners? And if not, then I guess we will drop the mic here on this interview.
Only that, if you're interested or you got any questions, just shoot me an email or find me on Instagram or Twitter and send some questions there. I'm more than happy to take some time and let you guys know what we're all about or answer any questions you have.
All right, Kyle. Well, once again, like I said, thank you for your time.
And
And
thank you for having me on.
well, I figured, you seem like a decent guy, and I said, well, I like the idea of this, so fuck it, I'll help him out, right?
For sure. And it's very appreciated.
Yes. So, I do hope that So Good It's Scary does become something more down the road. And, yeah, like I said, if there's anything we can do to help out, please reach out and we'll see what we can do from there.
For sure, I'll let you know if I do.
All right. And on that note, everybody, thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna not blabber on anymore, but yeah, check it out. Have a great rest of your weekend, of your Sunday, or if just not a Sunday and you need coffee or whatever you're trying to do, tea, go do that and reach out to Kyle and tell him that the Everything Horror Podcast sent you, and please don't tear off your limbs. All right. And on that note, everybody, have fun and stay scary.